So I've just been working on most of the finishing touches to this track, the next single by John Seaton, called No Trouble. As with most of the stuff I've done with John, and then a lot of the stuff I do generally is get the meat and bones down. Meat and bones? Yeah. And then there's always a stage of adding extra bits of ambience, little kind of sound effects, things that add dynamic. A lot of the time I'm using my OP1 for that, because I really like how you can just dial a sound in without really knowing what you're doing. Or you just make a weird noise and then you manipulate it in the computer and add reverb or whatever. So it's really fast. It saves me having to scroll through plugins or go and get one of my big synths out and do that, because it's really going to be quite subtle in the mix. It's really for texture. So yeah, I thought I'd show you a couple of those things. So the track has quite a lot going on in the synth world. Because there's a lot of tension in this track, if you listen to the groove, so it's quite a dark, big chord progression in there. So I just thought maybe it'd be quite cool to have a drone, like a high synth drone, string kind of sound in there. It's just running in the background and not actually that perceptible, but if you took it away, you really notice it's not there. So that's what I've done there. It's got the OP1 first sound. Try to turn it up. It's kind of a weird warbly synth drone thing. That's one of them, and the other one is panned a bit to the right. We play them together, and they're panned like that, so you get the width, and they're really low in the mix. So that's there, and then I bring that in for the second half of the second verse, which again, it just adds this drone, and it creates this sort of sense something's going to happen, and then you take it away, but it is subtle. And the other thing I've just been doing is this little build, which is again playing a sound that opens up. I don't know what sound it is, but it's just one of the synth engines, and then you kind of open up, so it goes from being quite muted to being open. And there's two layers. One has got a big reverb on it that carries on, so that blends into the next section, and the other one is just dry with no reverb. So the first one, which is just the transition to when the vocal comes in. So that's the intro. They kind of go the two things together, and I'll tighten up the edit on that. But then essentially what that does is the track. That's when the bass comes in, and so these little things actually end up contributing quite a lot, these little pushes and builds. So I normally spend a few hours just doing stuff like that. I've done a couple of other layers. I did this sound with the OP1 as well, which is another, I've just put OP1 odd as the track name because I don't know what it is. And it just goes in. And I got another one. That's probably a bit too loud, but they're not there to take any focus away from anything. They're there just to support the other instruments and just create these little moments, as I've said. Just thought I'd share that with you. This track is really good. I'm really happy with it. Can't wait to get the final vocal on it.